Hari Om, greetings and salutations, dear devotees. My name is Isha Dilraj, and it is once again my humble pleasure to welcome you to the 6th evening of Gita Week Discourses by Sri Angajan ji. Over the past 5 evenings, Angajan ji has been so masterfully and beautifully taking us through a journey of chapter 12 of the Bhagavad Gita, the Yoga of Devotion. From the many lessons during last night's discourse, I particularly found it noteworthy that Angajan ji explained the 4 pivotal elements to incorporate in your daily prayer: love, gratitude, surrender, and humility. These essential and practical life lessons in how to action and understand bhakti, devotion, and prayer have been imparted to us so inspiringly and dynamically by Angajan ji, who always emphasizes that as spiritual seekers, it is so important to put these lessons into practice consistently if we are to enjoy the true benefits of these lessons. Devotees, I am sure we can all agree that these invaluable lessons from Angajan ji are imperative in providing positivity and direction in our lives. And so we are extremely grateful to Sri Angajan ji for delivering these discourses. As such, Hindu tradition over the millenniums have maintained the unbroken tradition of Guru Shishya Parampara, Guru-disciple lineage. We, as recipients of this invaluable knowledge, have an obligation and indebtedness to this age-old tradition of Guru Shishya Parampara, an indebtedness to our gurus known as Rishi Rina. And we fulfill that obligation so that the flow of this knowledge can be maintained for future generations. This tradition is known as Guru Dakshina, whereby we reciprocate the teacher generously with voluntary expression of gratitude via kind cash donations. Your donations will greatly help the Life Mastery Foundation and Sri Angajan ji to propagate this knowledge and will be used for further dissemination of spiritual knowledge to impact many lives around the world. Should you wish, you can make your donations to the Life Mastery Foundation and Angajan ji. All details are displayed on the screen for your convenience. Now, without any further delay, I welcome Sri Angajan ji to continue imparting the beautiful pearls of wisdom to us. Thank you.
Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Please join us in reciting the verses of Bhagavad Gita chapter 12, verses 1 to 10. So I beg your pardon. verses 11 to 20 of the 12th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita.
अथैतदप्यशक्तोऽसि कर्तुं मध्योगमाश्रितः सर्वकर्मफलत्यागं ततः कुरु यतात्मवान् श्रेयो हि ज्ञानमभ्यासात् ज्ञानाध्यानं विशिष्यते ध्यानात् कर्मफलत्यागः त्यागात् शान्तिरनन्तरम् अद्वेष्टा सर्वभूतानां मैत्रः करुण एव च निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः समदुःखसुखक्षमी सन्तुष्ट सततं योगी यथात्मा दृढनिश्चयः मय्यर्पितमनो बुद्धिः यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः यस्मानो द्विजते लोकाः लोकानो द्विजते च यः हर्षामर्षभयोद्वेगैः मुक्तो यः स च मे प्रियः अनपेक्ष शुचिर्दक्षः उदासीनो गतव्यतः सर्वारम्भ परित्यागी यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः यो न हृष्यति न द्वेष्टि न शोचति न काङ्क्षति शुभाशुभ परित्यागी भक्तिमान्यः स मे प्रियः समः शत्रौ च मित्रे च तथा मानापमानयोः शीतोष्णसुखदुःखेषु समः सङ्गविवर्जितः तुल्यनिन्दास्तुतिर्मौनी सन्तुष्टो येन केनचित् अनिकेतः स्थिरमतिः भक्तिमान् मे प्रियो नरः ये तु धर्म्यामृतमिदं यथोक्तं पर्युपासते श्रद्धधानामत्परमाः भक्तास्तेतीव मे प्रियाः ॐ तत्सत् इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासूपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुन संवादे भक्तियोगो नाम द्वादशोऽध्यायः।
Yesterday, in the 12th virtue of a bhakta, devotee of God, Bhagavan Shri Krishna spoke about the importance of bringing the union between the head and the heart. That is, my arpita mano buddhi. My means to me or in me, says Krishna. Arpita meaning dedicated, surrendered. What do you dedicate? Manaha and buddhi, that is mind and intellect. We are blessed with two most powerful tool application inside us, as it were. When you were born, you were loaded with these two powerful tools called buddhi, the intellect, and the manas, the mind. These are the two tools that every single one of us use to do anything and everything. And we use the same tool to fly to the height of spiritual perfection, God realization. Our manas and buddhi, the mind and intellect, the heart and the head, dil and dimag in Hindi. They're like two engines of an aircraft, the twin-engined aircraft. As you know, for a twin-engined aircraft to take off, both those engines have to be active. So the captain, once the people have boarded, loaded all the luggages and whatever cargo they need to load, the captain switches on one engine, the right engine. He allows the right engine to activate, spin its optimum revolution. And then he activates the left engine to make sure that that all engine also spinning its optimum RPM revolution per minute. Once both the engines are spinning its optimum required revolution, then the captain taxi the aircraft and take off. Our personality is also loaded with these twin engines called heart and the head. Many people that I know, I come in contact with, a lot of them have switched on one engine, the right engine, the right side engine, that is the engine of emotion, feelings, devotion. They express their sincerity, their devotion. They're very consistent in their prayers and rituals. They never miss any vows like Ekadashi, Amavasi, and those are all the other festivals. And of course, they don't miss any significant festival right from Shivaratri to Deepavali. They do all that. But that is, they do it with so much of devotion, so much of bhavana, sincerity. But then the engine of head is not switched on. They don't understand the significance. They don't understand the meaning. They don't understand the purpose. They don't think. They don't question the significance, the whys and hows of the Hinduism. Why do we do certain things? The engine of buddhi, the intellect, is dormant. It is rusted. And you wonder why we are not taking off. With one engine, you can't take off. So he says, my arpita manobuddhi, mind and intellect dedicated to me. Now, how do we switch on the engine of intellect, the thinking capacity? In life, the more spiritually evolved you are, the more God conscious you are, the more mysterious the life appears to you. It is a fact. The more mysterious the world appears to you, the life appears to you, the more spiritually evolved you are, the more you are attuning to God. Rational people, thinking people, tune to God by asking questions. They are tuned to God through the mysteries of life. In the Bhagavad Gita, the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the 29th verse, Lord Krishna talks about the mystery of life, wherein he says everything in life is ascharya, mysterious. It is a fact. There is so much of mystery. He says, ascharyavat pashyati tena. Some people sees this as a wonder. Yet others speaks of this as a wonder. Another hears of this as a wonder, and though having heard, none knows this at all. When you see life as a mysterious wonderment, amazement, mystery, you don't need to know. That's why he says towards the end, none knows this at all. If you think all your life's questions are answered, you don't know what you're talking about. The more rationally, intellectually you attune to God, attune to the divinity, the supreme reality, the more wonderment, amazement, ascharya, mysterious, everything in life will appear. You will not get all your questions answered. You don't need to. All that you need to do is to inquire, investigate. One sees this as a wonder, yet another speaks of this as a wonder. Another hears of this as a wonder, yet none knows this at all. What that means is that there's no way that you will know what is this. The only way for you to know is when we wake up from this slumber of illusion that we are caught up. You got to investigate. That is why we have the power of intellect, rationality. Human beings are endowed with the two types of intellect, two types of buddhi. One is called the gross intellect. The other is called subtle intellect. It is called sukshma buddhi and tikshna buddhi. Tikshna buddhi is the gross intellect and sukshma buddhi is the subtle intellect. And what's the difference? When you are exploring the unknown aspect of the world, the terrestrial world, you are using your tikshna buddhi or the gross intellect. It could be a scientist exploring, researching a rare medicine, a vaccine for COVID. Or it could be a very subtle research a chemist does in the laboratory, or a physicist research about the world. All that is in the realm of the gross intellect that is called Tikshna Buddhi. There are plenty of people with a highly developed gross intellect. They investigate the world, but they don't go beyond the world. When Newton saw apple falling from the tree, his gross intellect awakened. And he inquired, why did the apple fall down? What made this apple fall on the ground? Why did it not go upward? Or why didn't it go sideways? He inquired, he investigated. And that inquiry, that investigation, he pursued, Einstein, what do you call this, Newton, very consistent in his investigation. He did not give it up. He pursued his inquiry, and his investigation culminated in the discovery of the law of gravity. That is, every object is attracted towards the earth at 9.8 meter per second as law of gravity. He discovered it, but he stopped it. Gross intellect. Indeed, it is an incredible discovery that there is something called the law of gravity that is attracting to the earth at 9.8 meter per second. That investigation is within the realm of the gross intellect. When your thinking ability, when your rational ability, investigation, cross the precincts of the terrestrial world and conceive the possibility of something transcendental, something beyond the mundane existence, that is called Sukshma Buddhi, or the subtle intellect. What that means is, gross intellect is to understand why the apple fall. It is because of the law of gravity, 9.8 meter per second. The subtle intellect, or the Sukshma Buddhi, is who fixed the law of gravity. Gross intellect is to discover the boiling point of water is 100 degrees Celsius. But why? Who fixed the boiling point of water 100 degrees Celsius? Why not 50? Why not 110? Who fixed it? When you investigate the very existence of these laws, when you inquire the very origin, the creation of these laws, that is your Sukshma Buddhi, the subtle intellect. The problem is, most people engage their reasoning ability, thinking capacity only in the terrestrial world, and that's it. That's why you find great scientific discoveries and creation, innovations, and happens, but not so much spiritual stalwarts, as much as innovators that is happening in this, that's emerging in this world. Mysteries as to why is this. When a sperm enters the womb, it meets with an egg. In fact, the egg attracts the sperm. At the time of conception, millions of sperm enter in the womb. Egg attracts a particular sperm, it unites it, and eventually it develops and grows into a human being like we are. Isn't that a mystery? Isn't that a miracle? If you look at your own biological system, there are countless miracles happening at the moment, which we simply take it for granted. When you begin to experience or focus upon the mysterious aspect of life, about the creation, when did this world begin? Was there a particular time when the world originated? We cannot answer that question. You don't need to find an answer, simply investigate. Because the moment you say, at a particular time, the world began, which means you are putting time before that. When you say, at a particular time period, the world began, that very moment, you are violating the creation in the sense that the world is made of time, space, and causation. So the world began at a particular time. You are saying time existed even before that. You can never ask that question, answer that question. When did the world begin? What is all this creation all about? Who was the first father? You have a father or had a father. You have had or have a grandfather. You have had a great-grandfather. You had great-great-grandfather. It takes 2 parents to give birth to you. It takes 4 grandparents to give birth to you. It takes 8 great-grandparents to give birth to you. 16 fourth generation great parents. Can you imagine all those struggles and sacrifices they went through? As you go back, you will see it increases, it multiples. So who was the first father? Who is your father's father's first father who had no father? It adds infinitum. Mystery. The more you think about the mysterious aspect of the universe, you will not go crazy. The more you will surrender to that supreme reality, which we don't know what it is. You develop a spirit of surrender. I don't know. Let me do what I'm doing to the best of my ability. But what happens is we simply go to the temple and pray and perform rituals and do and come back. And I say, I prayed to God. The more mysterious the world appears to you, the more evolved you are, the more connected you are to God, if you want to call it, the more connected you are to the supreme reality, the divinity. That is the way. If you look at the creation, you watch, you observe a leopard. What an ingenious piece of engineering. Its body is so intricately and ingeniously engineered to run so fast. And its body is designed to camouflage itself on trees. The color I'm talking about, so that it can catch a prey easily. Its claws are so strong and sharp. At the same time, the paws of a leopard or a tiger is so soft that it can walk through dry leaves without making any noise. On one hand. Look at the other hand, the engineering of a deer. The deer is so aerodynamically designed to run so fast, to leap so fast. and its legs look so nimble but very strong to hop. And its ears are so sensitive to the sound that even small sound it can hear when a leopard or a tiger or a lion come closer. Now, my question is, the designer of a leopard or a tiger and the designer of a deer, are they competitors? Are there competitors in this world? You will find a predator and prey. You watch an eagle swiftly flying and grabbing a tiny sparrow looking so cute. The designer of the eagle and the designer of the sparrow, are they competitor? Are the two creator? I don't know. I'm talking about the mysterious aspect of the world. You can find your own mysteries in life. The more mysterious life appears to you, the more you feel the presence of God. The more you feel the presence of supreme reality. As I told you, the word God is simply like saying X. We don't know what that is. There is something behind it, that's for certain, but I don't know what that is. You call it God, you can call it what you want. But what is that supreme reality? Don't simply give a name, Krishna, Rama, Vishnu, etc. They symbolizes that supreme reality. You need an idol, a symbol to conceive the supreme reality. That is the way to identify yourself with that supreme. My arpita manobuddhi, mind and intellect dedicated to me. So when you reflect upon that, you will find your head and the heart, your mind and intellect harmonizes, unites. When the mind and intellect are in harmony with each other, that is when you experience inspiration. When you're inspired, when you're really inspired in life, what happens is you will find that harmony. You will find that inspiration. At the moment, we don't have that inspiration. We are working with perspiration. How do we know that we don't have the inspiration? Very simple. When we wake up in the morning, how do you feel going to work? Do you go to work because you love to go to work, or you go to work because you have to go to work? Inspired people work because they are inspired. They love to work, not because they have to work. You'll be waiting for Monday morning. You'll be waiting for the joy of experiencing or enjoying the work itself. When there is a harmony between the head and the heart, you experience the joy, inspiration, life becomes blissful. Every experience is joy. You are able to enjoy even the simplest of pleasures. You don't need a magnified experience to make you happy. Simple things make you happy. As William Cooper in the poem says, those who truth and wisdom lead can gather honey from a weed. Those whom truth and wisdom lead can gather honey from a weed. What that means is even small experiences. You watch a tiny seed grow. You can see the miracle, the mysteries of God. A tiny seed grow into a gigantic tree. Mystery. And then he continues the discussion in the 15th verse.
Yasmano dvijate lokaha. Yasmano dvijate lokaha. Lokano dvijate chayaha. Lokano dvijate chayaha. Harsha marsha bhayo dvaigaihi. हर्षामर्षभयोद्वेगैः मुक्तो यः स च मे प्रियः मुक्तो यः स च मे प्रियः.
The 13th virtue, the quality of a devotee of God. He says, he by whom the world is not agitated and who is not agitated by the world, who is free from joy, envy, fear, and anxiety, he is dear to me, says Krishna. Who is dear to God? Who is dear to Bhagavan Krishna? Who is dear to that supreme reality? You can do all those prayers and rituals, pilgrimages, everything that you do, no problem. But that doesn't guarantee you your closeness to divinity. That doesn't determine your closeness to Krishna. That's what Krishna said. It is not whether you claim how close you are to God, but does God say it? You can claim I'm very close to Krishna, but that Krishna says that. The way, if you want Krishna to be close to you, he says, practice this quality. And what is the quality? He by whom the world is not agitated, the 13th virtue. One who does not cause pain, unhappiness to the world. One who does not create mental agitation to the other people. If at all he does, it is for the good intention, positive intention. By whom? Yasma no dvijate lokaha. Today, you got to be very alert to examine, is my action causing discomfort or nuisance to the other people? Sometimes you may not be able to help it. Like you boil water. There are millions of bacteria getting killed in that. You have to do it. Can't help it. That is why we express our gratitude to that Paramatma. That because of that, we are able to live. Who doesn't cause agitation. You find many people, they don't realize that there are so many infliction of pain to animals can be avoided. We don't need, our sport doesn't have to be based on the pain of other animals. You'll find the trophy hunters hunt down animals, kill them, and then they sit near the body, the carcass, and take picture with a gun. What is more painful with the trophy hunters is that very often inexperienced hunters go into the jungle to hunt. They're not experienced. They shoot the animal and the animal get injured in the forest and they can't hunt anymore because they can't run. Their limb is injured. And they die a slow and painful and unnatural death. A bhakta, a devotee, is one by whom the world is not agitated. Our pain, our pleasure need not be based on the unhappiness of the other animals or other people. And then he says, who's not agitated by the world? Not only that you don't inflict pain upon the other people, but you don't get affected also. First of all, living a mindful life. to cause minimum pain and discomfort to other people and other creatures. Living mindful of other people's discomfort, whether it is your neighbors or your colleagues at work, whether while you're talking, you can restrict your loudness so that if you're waiting in the queue, other people need not be disturbed. As intricate as that. Yasma no dijate loka, loka no dijate jaya, meaning who's not agitated by the world. The world will affect your body. The world will affect your mind. The world will affect your intellect. But when your focus of attention is upon the divinity within, you remain unaffected by the afflictions of the world. You as a human being, you are a combination of the Atman, the spirit, the God principle, in contact with the three equipments, namely the body, mind, and intellect. And of course, the ego, manas, buddhi, chit, ahankar. So the spirit, the Atman, the divinity is your real self. That is the fountainhead of happiness. The body, mind, intellect, and ego are the tools, the equipments that you use. If your focus of attention is always upon the body, you all the time think about the body, you become a physical person, and everything physical experiences affect you, agitate you. When the weather changes, if it is hot or cold, beyond your tolerance, you get affected. And you see other people only physically. When you meet a person, you will say he's tall or short or handsome or ugly or whatever, only physical. If your focus of attention is on your own mind, you all the time talk about your feelings and emotions. You become an emotional person. And when you meet people, your focus is always upon his or her emotion, how nice the person is, how sweet the person is, how kind the person is. If your focus of attention is upon your own intellect, you all the time think about ideas and ideology, whether what Joe Biden did in America about Afghanistan is right or wrong. You all the time argue, think about those things. A particular political party or the leader of a particular party has done the right thing or not. Those kind of ideas and ideology. And when you meet people, you always focus upon their intelligence. You will say, oh, he's a brilliant person. He's an intelligent person. Whatever you focus upon your personality, you'll find it's reflected outside. Whereas if your focus of attention is upon the spirit, the Atman, you remain unaffected. Krishna represents that supreme reality within. Here is a magnet, a horseshoe magnet. If I bring a wooden piece, a piece of wood close to the magnet, it doesn't attract. I keep the wood aside, I bring an iron piece near the magnet attracts the iron piece. There is pressure. I keep the iron piece aside, bring the wooden piece, no attraction. But if I were to tie the wood and the iron piece together, if I tie the wood and iron piece together, tied strongly. And if I were to bring the combination of the wood and iron piece together, the combination of the wood and iron attracts, it is attracted by the magnet. But even when the combination is attracted by the magnet, my question to you is, ladies and gentlemen, what is happening to the wooden piece? The wood piece still remain unaffected, but because of its tied together with the iron piece, the wood seemed to be attracted by the magnet, but in actual fact, the wood is unaffected. Similarly, you as a human being is a combination of spirit and matter. Spirit is the divinity, the Atman, the God principle within. The matter are the material equipments, namely the body, mind, intellect, and the ego. The world will affect the body. The body will feel heat or cold, but you have the ability to remain unaffected by the fluctuations of weather. Your mind will feel emotions, but you have the ability to remain unaffected by, unfluctuated by the emotions or behavior of the other people. But what happens is that we are constantly agitated, affected by other people's behavior, and we blame the other people for your unhappiness. Remember, when you are unhappy, it is not that other people making you happy. It is your reaction to the other people's behavior. And you have a choice. You have a free will. You have the ability to choose the type of reaction that you want to display. He says, who is not agitated by the world. Loka no dvijate chayaha. And then he says, the 15th quality of a devotee, he says, freed from joy, envy, fear, and anxiety. Harsha, joy, amarsha, envy, bhaya, fear, and anxiety. He who is free from joy, envy, fear, and anxiety, that person is dear to Krishna. He covers the entire range of emotion, a panorama of emotions that we go through by mentioning these few emotions, because almost everybody in the world goes through this anxiety and fear. And when they experience that anxiety, they simply go to a doctor, a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist prescribes Prozac or Zoloft or Paxil. That is not a remedy for your anxiety, because anxiety is created by your own thought. So these pills that the doctors give you only suppress your anxiety. You got to change your thought process. Your happiness, your freedom from anxiety is dependent upon the quality of thoughts you entertain. Unless you change the quality of the thought, you will continue to experience the fear and anxiety. Why is he saying free from joy, harsha? What's wrong with joy? The joy that he's talking about today, our mind is so preoccupied or programmed to gravitate towards instant gratification, instant pleasure. That is the dangerous part of it. The pleasures that the world offers teases and pleases your sense organs momentarily, and it produces pain later. The law of life, the law of lasting happiness is that which is pleasurable in the beginning is painful later. And that which is painful, difficult in the beginning is enjoyable later. That's a law of life. Sustainable satisfaction, sustainable happiness always doesn't come easily. It comes with a lot of effort and sacrifice. Those happiness, joys that comes easily, swiftly, will not stay with you. It will go as swiftly as it comes, and the danger is it puts you in a deeper pain. As you know, food, for example, if you love a particular kind of food, you haven't eaten pizza for many weeks. And not having eaten pizza for many weeks, or any favorite food, for example, the first piece of pizza that your tongue contacts, it gives you pleasure. Before the pizza reaches your tongue, there is no pleasure. After the pizza leaves the tongue, there is no pleasure. The pleasure, the joy of pizza is so long as the pizza is in contact with your tongue, not before, not after. That is momentary pleasure, temporary pleasure. And if you continue to indulge in the momentary pleasure in terms of food, it produces a lot of pain and suffering later. Those people, many physical problems that a lot of people go through are created because of the food that they eat. Harsha, meaning a bhakta, a devotee, is one who doesn't gravitate towards instant gratification. A devotee doesn't rush towards something that comes free. There's a saying, there's always a free cheese in the mousetrap. There's always a free cheese in the mousetrap, meaning when something that comes free, there is something behind it. Don't rush into it. Similarly, the momentary pleasures that the world offers, temporary gratification, that which is pleasurable in the beginning is painful later, and vice versa. Pause for a moment. Take an about turn and look within yourself. Ask your own mind. Am I programmed with instant gratification, or am I programmed with delayed gratification? People who enjoy enduring success, enduring happiness, enduring contentment are programmed with delayed gratification. You have a choice. You have a choice to reprogram your mind. If it is programmed with instant gratification, that is what Krishna says. A bhakta is one who is not programmed with instant gratification. He's prepared to go through sacrifice. He's prepared to go through pain to enjoy satisfaction later. And then he says, amarsha, envy. Envy is a feeling of discontentment at somebody else's success. When you feel unhappy because somebody else is better off than you in many ways, the moment you experience unhappiness because somebody else is happy, that very moment, you will find you are sowing the seed of your own failure. Happy and successful people genuinely enjoy other people's success. The first principle of success. It is not the intelligent people who are successful. There are plenty of intelligent people. If you look at there are many people who have got brilliant academic track records, but that doesn't really bring success to their life. I'm talking material success. There are people who work really, really hard. It is not the hardworking people who are successful. Of course, you could do with a lot of intelligent hard work. But one of the very important principles of success is to enjoy other people's success, is to enjoy other people's happiness. If you cannot enjoy other people's success and happiness, there is no way that you can enjoy your own success and happiness. Our ego resists. Our ego cannot enjoy seeing somebody else as happy and successful. And that is when you become PhD, pull him down mentality, pull him down syndrome. Our society is full of people with this sickness of PhD, pull him down syndrome. The moment they find somebody else is really working hard to find their way up, some of them do everything possible to pull them down. They backbite, they gossip. If somebody is wealthy, somebody is making a lot of money, they don't see the sacrifices that that man went through. While most people have come home by 4:30, 5 o'clock, sitting and watching soapies and television, this man was sitting in his office, planning and scheming and calculating and working how to raise his business, how to take his business to heights. And after several years of intense work, his business grows. He becomes a multi-millionaire. And when he becomes wealthy multi-billionaire, the people who suffer from PhD syndrome will say he must be selling drugs, or he must be bribing the government officials. Maybe there are corruption happening, but not everybody. You can't paint everybody with the same brush. Envy is a feeling of discontentment at somebody else's success and happiness. There are people who are unhappy because of their own pain, their own problems. Then there are people who are unhappy because of other people's problem. Then there are people who are unhappy because of other people are happy. Then there are strange people who are unhappy without any problems. What type are you? If you don't program your mind, and you have the free will, you have the ability to program your mind to enjoy other people's success and happiness. If you don't learn to enjoy other people's success, other people's happiness, rest assured, you will have the next two qualities, fear and anxiety. Bhaya and udvega, envy, a feeling of discontentment at other people's success. We can't afford to do that. That is why some of the slogans in Hinduism always talking about find happiness in other people's happiness. Let everybody be successful. Let everybody enjoy. Let everybody be peaceful. Is it so difficult for us to do that? It doesn't cost us money. It doesn't cost us time. It doesn't cost any particular season or occasion. It doesn't have to be any particular ritual or festival. All that you need to do is to resist your own ego and send happiness and blessings to those people who really find the ground and growing. That's all that we need to do. Envy. Examine your thought. A bhakta is one who doesn't feel envious about the other people. There is no point in we performing rituals and prayers, etc., while our heart is full of envy. Try it. Initially, you will find it difficult to overcome the envy, but sooner or later, you will find, I've conquered it. And then he says, bhaya, fear, a very universal emotion. Fear and anxiety are very close cousins. They're almost first cousins. Fear is fear of losing what you have. That is bhaya. Udvega, anxiety is fear of not getting what you want. Fear of losing what you have, fear of not getting what you want. Causes of fear. What causes fear? We have a misconception that somebody outside causes fear. You know, you hear people say, fear of darkness. It is not the darkness that is causing fear. It is what could be in the darkness that is causing fear. Or your imagination that there could be something in the darkness that is causing fear. Your ignorance that there could be something. It is not the darkness. Nobody is afraid of darkness. It is not the fear of height. It is not the height that is causing fear. It is the fear that you might fall down. Fear is caused by desire. When you have the desire, you're afraid if I don't get it. If you have already achieved it, you have the fear of losing what you have. If you have ego, ego causes fear. All right. You have the ego of somebody conquering you, somebody is overpowering you. When you are selfish, selfishness causes that inexplicable insecurity. A lot of people go to psychiatrists and psychologists, talk to them, and they tell me, some of the psychiatrist friends, psychologists tell me that they have no reason to be afraid. Why are we experiencing that inexplicable insecurity? The only reason is our own selfishness and ego. The only antidote to that insecurity, fear, is to do seva, to do charity. Merely popping pills will not long-term remove your anxiety. Our Shastras gives us sure method of liberating yourself from the anxiety. That is called karma yoga, do charity. There are so many charitable institutions in and around wherever you live. There are such incredible organizations like ABH in Durban, doing such yeoman service to elderly people. Charity, seva. I'm not saying 24/7 you must invest your time to do seva. Taste it, taste it. Go to certain charitable institution, spend time, and see how you feel when you come back. Genuinely, unselfishly, without expecting anything in return. Once, there was a lady, her name was Mary. Her husband died of cancer. They were very close to each other. Having nourished him for good year or so, eventually he couldn't make it. He died of cancer. And the husband was the only breadwinner in the family. And 3 months later, her only son died in a car crash, in a car accident. Needless to say, she was deeply, deeply depressed, full of anxiety and fear. She didn't know how to look after, how to survive. She went to psychiatrists, she went to psychologists, they give pills and syrup, etc. It was okay, suppressed it. One evening, on a rainy, cold winter day like it is today, she was walking home. Just about 500 meters or few hundred meters away from her house, she saw a kitten. And the kitten followed her. One cat followed her right to the door of her house. And she felt that sense of compassion, a sense of identification with the kitten. And she allowed the kitten inside. And she took out some milk warmed it in the microwave, and gave this little kitten in a small cup. And within a minute or so, the kitten sucked it to clean. And she dried it, warmed it. First time she experienced serenity, peace, joy in her life after several months. Just by serving that kitten. And she introspected, she reflected. She asked herself the question, if by helping the kitten in this few minutes can give me so much of joy, so much of contentment, so much relief from anxiety and stress, maybe I must do this more. Next day, she decided to prepare some cookies, biscuits. And he decided to take to two of the acquaintances that she knew is old, elderly. And she decided to take this to the house at her own cost. And her happiness doubled, tripled, multiplied. And she continued to do that over and over again. And she used to work for a psychologist. So a rich lady came to this psychologist. And as she was, this wealthy lady was talking to psychologist that she can't sleep. She's suffering from unexplicable fear, anxiety. What do I do? And as she was telling, this doctor saw Mary walking past. And the doctor called Mary, and she dropped her. She used to work there as a janitor. And she kept her bucket and broom aside. And the doctor told her, Mary, can you explain to this lady how you found happiness? And Mary explained to her what happened to her. And she says, ever since then that I fed the cat, nurtured the cat, I realized my happiness comes by giving happiness to the other people. There is no other way to overcome your anxiety except practicing karma yoga, that is doing things to the other people, other being, without expecting anything in return. If you don't understand philosophy, speak to people who do those. Take statistics. There are elderly people who have sacrificed everything that they have for their children. They did not save anything. Typical Indian community. That's what they do. They put everything for the children's education. They don't save for their future. They don't save for their retirement. So they sacrifice everything for the children, and the children is educated. They find a job. They get married. They move to another city, and they abandon the parents. And parents not only feel emotionally abandoned, they don't have the resources to look after them. That is why institutions like ABH, etc., are taking care of such parents. You can really find joy in serving, which you need to find out what is close to your heart. There are many people doing many yeoman services that is close to your heart. What is close to your heart may not be close to my heart, may not be close to somebody else's heart. But the truth is that if you want to overcome anxiety, there is only one way. That is, do things to the other people. Some people are so selfish. They are not even sacrificial to the very employees who made them rich. They squeeze the employees' blood to make money. You cannot be free from anxiety. Bhaya, fear. There are 6 universal fear that generally we go through. Fear of poverty. Even rich people go through fear of, fear of poverty has nothing to do with whether you have money or not. Even rich people go through the fear of poverty, no matter how much bank balance they have. Fear of losing the loved one. A lot of people are afraid if their children passes away, or the parents passes away, the spouse passes away, or the sibling passes away. Attachment, fear of falling sick, afraid of falling sick, fear of criticism. Fear of being condemned, criticized by the other people, fear of old age, and fear of death. These insecurity and fear. Fear is a terrible emotion. Fear paralyzes your thinking. When you're under the influence of emotion, you cannot think clearly. You make decisions under the influence of emotion. And fear creates reality. When you're continuously afraid of something, if you're afraid of lizard, gecko, you will be the one always encountering lizard or cockroaches or whatever it is. Similarly, if you continuously harbor insecurity, you will find yourself going through a lot of fear. Harsha, amarsha, bhaya, udveha, anxiety, fear of losing what you have and fear of not getting what you want. Yah sachame priyaha, says Bhagavan Krishna. He is dear to me. And then he continues in the 16th verse.
Anapeksha shuchirdakshaha.
Anapeksha shuchirdakshaha.
Udasino gatavyataha.
Udasino gatavyataha.
Sarvarambha parityagi. Sarvarambha parityagi. Yo madbhakta same priyaha.
Yo madbhakta same priyaha. The 16th virtue of a bhakta, or a devotee of God, is he who is free from expectations. Anapeksha. Apeksha means reciprocal, expectation. Pure, shuchi, clean. Expert, daksha. Udasina, unconcerned, untroubled. Renouncing all undertaking, sarvarambha parityagi, yomad bhakta same priyaha. That devotee is dear to me. Which devotee? He who is free from expectation. One of the main causes of a lot of stress that we go through is our own expectation. We do something good, something noble, something kind, virtuous, and you expect the other people to reciprocate it. You do something right and you expect everybody else to do the same thing the way you're doing right. You drive on the way, you're a disciplined driver, no doubt. You drive with discipline, you maintain the speed, you follow the lane discipline, etc. And you expect everybody else to follow. Yes, your expectation may be, you might argue that I have the right, I'm expecting the right thing, but you have no right to expect the other people to behave just because you did the right thing. It is like saying, you are a vegetarian. Because you're a vegetarian, you go to Kruger National Park and you expect the lion not to attack you because you're a vegetarian. If you're doing the right thing and expect everybody else to do the right thing, it is as absurd as you being a vegetarian and expect lion not to attack you. The moment you have expectation, that causes a lot of mental agitation, many domestic disharmony, many marital dispute. The couple who are miserable living under one roof, they can't divorce it, they can't separate it, nor they can live together. It's like holding the tiger's tail. You can't release the tiger's tail, nor can you hold on and run with it. It's like that. It is one of the main reasons is the expectation. Husband has got a lot of expectation from the wife. Wife should be like this, wife should be like that, and vice versa. Wife has got a lot of expectations from the husband. These expectations creates a lot of conflict. If you don't believe, go back and examine the amount of unreasonable expectations. Expectation from others will hurt you. Expectation from yourself can inspire you. Apeksha, free from expectation. A lot of people want perfection. When you expect perfection from your spouse. There's a lady a couple of months ago came to me for counseling, marital counseling. Her problem was her husband is imperfect. Why? He drinks, he doesn't wake up on time, he doesn't clean. I told her, what do you want? I want a perfect husband. What is your definition of perfect husband? She said, he must wake up early on time. He must make his own bed, make his own coffee, clean his own room, go to work, come back on time, right? Watch TV, don't drink, and sleep at 9 o'clock. I told her, you can only find such husbands in the prison. Because in the prison, it's all regimental. They wake up on time, they clean the room, they sweep the room, they do everything, and they sleep on time also. Expectation. Sometimes your expectations destroys your own virtue. You don't realize that. Your unreasonable expectation. A friend visited your house. And when the friend was visiting your house, you prepared elaborate meals, food, everything, and entertained your friend so well. And the friend was very, very happy. Thanked you so much for making all those delicacies and dishes, etc. 2 months later, you go to that friend's house. And you have an expectation that the friend also will prepare all the varieties of dishes and treat you like a royalty. But you visited and you sat there and you're waiting for the invitation, for the meal, but nothing. The friend only asked you, would you like some tea? You said, no, I don't drink tea. Oh, okay, that's fine. And after 2 hours, you sat there, spoke, and you came away. And you felt so bitter, you're so agitated, you're so unhappy because the friend didn't treat you. And next time, 2 months later, when the very same friend comes to your house, you also give him or her nothing. You also begin to treat the friend. Did you realize what you have done? Because of your own expectation to be treated like you have treated the other person. That expectation destroyed your virtue. One of the tradition, one of the ancient principle that Hinduism follow is that Aditi Devo Bhava, meaning guest is God. What that means is that when you have guests into your own house and you treat them, make them happy, they leave a positive energy in your house. They leave a positive vibe in your house. And you will attract such people because your vibe attracts your tribe. And every time you entertain people, I'm not saying you must keep calling everybody, but when you treat them, regardless of without any expectation, that is when your house becomes a home. Some people are so allergic to guests. Anybody come to their house, they don't want to entertain them. If at all they want to entertain, they take them to the restaurant. What makes your house into a home is that when visited, and if you have swamis and gurus and sannyasis and those philosophers coming to your house, is even greater. Those families who entertain gurus and swamis and philosophers and sannyasis and mahatmas, etc., that is when the house becomes a home. Otherwise, it's a block with 4 walls on either side, and both of you are fighting. There is tension in the house. Nobody is talking to each other. Cold war, even on the dining table, there is tension. He who's free from expectation, shuchi, pure, cleanliness. Purity means to be acutely aware, to be acutely conscious of dirt. If you see, spiritual development is all about cleansing your impurities within. So cleanliness begins with being conscious of dirt outside, your environment, your circumstances, situation. And then you become conscious of the dirt inside in the form of ego, selfishness, greed, envy, and awareness of dirt. Daksha, expert, a devotee is a bhakta is one who is willing to apply his mind and do what he believes he can't do. Remember, you're intelligent. You're born with such intelligence. You are able to apply your mind and you're able to get things done. That is a bhakta. That was Hanuman in Ramayana. Hanuman is depicted as a proverbial bhakta, one who is skillful, smart, alert, prompt, clever. That is Daksha. When you take any work as sacred, when you do anything that you're doing as sacred with so much of devotion, you will be able to do it because your devotion will teach you how to do it. Your passion will teach you how to do it. You don't necessarily have a qualification. Yes, I'm not saying if you had to operate on a patient, you can't go to an operation theater, operate on a patient because that needs a certain degree and a qualification, of course. I'm talking about the routine things at home. Some people can't even chop a vegetable. Say, oh, I don't know, I never cut vegetable, I never cooked. Leave alone cutting, can't even bring vegetable from the shop. Expert, daksha, unconcerned, udasina. The word udasina, if you split the Sanskrit word, ut asina, meaning above seated. Meaning, when your mind is pegged onto something higher, nobler, you will not be concerned or you'll not be affected by the petty things that are happening into other people doing to you. Why should you be? Let your mind be pegged onto higher values. You will not react to the pettiness of the other people. If you do react to the pettiness of the other people, you are also in the same level. Udasina, risen above. When your mind is anchored to something higher. Not concerned about other people's opinion. Not dependent upon other people's opinion. Yes, you respect other people's opinion when you need to, but you're not concerned, your self-worth is not dependent upon what other people think about you. Regardless of other people's opinion, your self-worth is fully secure and that is dependent upon your belief, self-belief. Not about what other people think. Udasina, untroubled, unaffected by the fluctuations of life. That happens when your focus is upon the permanent changeless factor. And renouncing all undertaking, not believing that I have done it, I have started it. Yomad bhakta same priya. That devotee is dear to me, says God, says Brahman, the supreme reality, says Bhagavan Sri Krishna. So who's dear to Sri Krishna? Not that person who's fanatically attached to the name of Krishna. Not that person who fanatically go to the temple, Krishna temple every day and washes the murti. You can do all that, fantastic. Well, along with those rituals and prayers, Krishna says, you must also examine these virtues. One who don't expect, when you do something to the other people, you do it without expectation. One who's free from wants, pure, expert, that devotee is dear to me. We will continue tomorrow. Don't go away. Those of you who wants to continue the study of the Bhagavad Gita, I run a Bhagavad Gita study class on Saturdays. You can contact us through the contact details that was displayed earlier. All right. You're welcome to join that. You need to contact us. There are certain criteria you got to, all right. And on Monday is the 30th of August, is the Krishna Janmashtami, the birth of Krishna. I'll be speaking to the role of Lord Krishna in the battle of Kurukshetra in the Mahabharata. I'll be speaking on that. Join us. So on Monday as well. And tomorrow is the last day. There's one more little bit of piece of announcement for you.
Thank you so much, Angajan for yet again another dynamic and inspiring discourse. I think one of the important teachings that we can take away from today's discourse is the importance of switching on the engine of the intellect to tune into God via rationality and curiosity with a spirit of inquiry. This leads to the 13th virtue of a bhakta, which is to live a mindful life which causes no pain to any being or life, one who does not agitate the world. At the same time, to be one who is not agitated by the world, to be unaffected by worldly occurrences without fear, worry, and anxiety, and to be focused on inner divinity. Remember, dear devotees, all this beautiful knowledge requires you to revisit the teachings, and most importantly, to put this into practice in our day-to-day lives. Therefore, if you wish to continue this enlightening journey, a kind reminder that Angajanji's CDs, DVDs, and books are available via the website. Some of my personal favorites include the 12 Habits of Highly Happy People, A Spiritual Approach to Stress Management, and 4 Essentials of a Peaceful Mind. So head over to the website and continue this wonderful spiritual journey. All details regarding the website and Guru Dakshina are displayed on the screen. Once again, thank you for joining today. Hoping to see you all tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. A blessed evening to you all. Stay safe, take care, and Hari Om.